Ken Wenning here, and with the holidays fast approaching, I'm going to look at some great affordable gift ideas for this holiday season. Now, if you're watching this, you probably left it to the last minute, and so hopefully these are still gifts for this season. If not, well, maybe they're gifts to yourself for the new year. But let's dive right into it. And actually, before I get right into it, I just want to say up front that none of these products are from partners who are paying me to say this. These are just my ideas for, hey, pieces of gear that I've tested. Some of them I haven't, but I've got them to test this coming year. And I just say, wow, you know what? This would be a great gift for me. And so I'm going to share that with you. And I'm going to start with these suckers right here. These are Hobie's floating sunglasses. This one is, I believe, called the Coastal Float, and this one is the Everglades Float. That's just the name of the style. Different colored lenses. You can get a variety of different lens colors depending on what kind of conditions you regularly come across. Bright sun, a lot of cloudy days, what have you. Cool thing about these things, two things for a paddler. First off, if you're a paddler, it's not a question of whether you're going to lose a pair of sunglasses in the water. It's more of a matter of how many times it's happened to you, or when is the first time going to happen. And it really is a painful thing when you spend a lot of money on sunglasses, which you can do. Now they're not super cheap sunglasses, but they're $100. That is not expensive for a good pair of polarized sunglasses, which they are. And I have been testing these, and I really like them. I really like them. What else can I say? They're solid sunglasses on top, and I think they look good. On top of that, they float. So if they do fall into the drink when you're paddling, they're not gone. And that makes a ton of sense to me. So these, whether it's these styles or not, great gift idea. Next up, we've got pants, believe it or not. Not just any pants. These are Terran's lightweight traveler pants. Now, I love a good pair of pants that I can use camping, use in the outdoors, go for a hike in, do anything in. But also, when I'm in town, I don't feel out of place. And that's what these things are designed to be. They're designed to be an all-round pant that you can wear doing anything. And a couple really cool things about this pair of pants. First thing is the material. It's got four-way stretch. And so even though it's a slimmer fit, and I don't typically fit well in slimmer fitting pants, but because of all the stretch in these pants, it works really well for me. And it also, they look good because of it. So that's cool. The material is also quick drying and moisture wicking. It's got bug repellency built into it. It's got 6 pockets, including a zippered pocket, so things won't just fall out. But I think the coolest thing about these pants, aside from them being really comfy and being good for anything, is the button system. This button system is actually a high-powered magnet, which I didn't think too much about it at first, but once I started wearing them, I was like, oh, that's cool. Because when you sit down, instead of the having elastic in the band, the actual button slides. And so you get extra space from whether you're sitting on a flight, whether you're just sitting around at the office, whatever you do, or you're sitting around camp, and when you bend forward, you want the waist to stretch a bit, you get that stretch because of the button. Really cool design. So you don't need to wear a belt, but I actually usually do wear a belt anyway with these things. I've tested them pretty thoroughly in day-to-day use, but I haven't tested these things actually on a backcountry camping trip. I have no doubt they'll be great though. The question is, pants is one of those things that it's very personal. Do they fit you? Do they feel right on you? And the only way to know that is to try them, but I love them. Now next up, we have this sucker right here. This is Astral's Brewer 2.0. Now I fell in love with Astral's water shoes about, I think it was 2 years ago when I first tested the Loyak series, and the Loyak AC. I gave them Paddle TV awards because they're just awesome water shoes. This is one of their original water shoes, the Brewer, and it's the second generation, the 2.0. The difference between this and the Loyak is it's a bit more robust. It's a bit more of a shoe. It's still a water shoe. It's still designed. It's got drainage here at the top, on both sides, at the back, at the front. It's designed to drain water quick. It's designed to be used in a wet or water environment. It's also quick drying, but it has a bit more support to it, and the sole is a bit thicker. It's still very flexible, so it fits in a lot of different types of boats, but it has more protection when you're maybe when you're just going for a hike, not paddling, or maybe going for that hike on a paddling trip, or doing a bunch of portaging. A bit more durability, a bit more ruggedness from the sole, but it's still got that same, they call it G15 rubber. And the rubber on the Astral shoes is one of the things that makes them so great for paddling, is because incredible grip on dry and wet surfaces. And that's pretty much the biggest thing you need, is you need a pair of shoes that has awesome grip on wet surfaces, because that's where a lot of the injuries, I'd say most paddling injuries happen slipping on land, getting in, getting out, portaging, those types of things. And a good pair of water shoes is so worth the investment. The other thing I really like about this shoe is that it's got a wider toe box. I have wide feet, and so this makes it extremely comfortable for me. But it also, I think it gives you, when you have a wider foot, when your foot is allowed to splay out a bit, you get better purchase on the rocks. And so, awesome shoe, whether this one or the Loyak AC is the right one. Plus, actually, they have a Loyak all-weather shoe that just came out, which isn't actually really designed to be a water shoe in the sense that it drains really quick and dries really quick, but it actually keeps the water out to begin with. But I haven't tested that one yet. I'm going to probably test that one because I've been loving their shoes. Next up, we've got this sucker right here. Now, I just got a question on one of my videos, and it's a question I've got a number of times. How do I secure my kayak when I'm traveling? How do I lock it up, keep it safe? And this is how I do that. This is the Yakima ripcord locking tie down. It's a 12-foot long strap that has a wire core in it, a metal core. And this core, you thread it through this rubber padded. What's nice about this rubber padded locking mechanism here is that when you're throwing it over your boat or whatever, it's not going to ding up your car, or it's not going to actually do any damage to your boat if you've got a composite boat or bike, whatever you're using to lock down. Because I use this to lock down anything on my vehicle, and not just on my vehicle. I use these. I think I've had this particular one for, gosh, it's been around for a while, probably 8 years, and I use it a lot. You buy them as a set of 2, and they're not cheap. They're $180, but it's great protection, great peace of mind. Even when after a day of paddling, you're stopping off at the restaurant to get a bite to eat or what have you. Never mind if you're traveling and parked you're staying at a hotel. This is great peace of mind and well worth the investment. The Yakima ripcord locking tie down. Something worth mentioning though, some people actually use this to replace cam straps and tie their boat down with it. I don't. I use this as a lock on top of the cam straps. I cam strap the boat down and then I just use this to lock the boat to the car, to the vehicle, or to the roof rack system, whatever makes sense. So anyway, there you go. Next up, we've got this sucker right here. This is NRS's Swig Hydration Pack. This is something that I tested for the first time on my Lake Superior trip and absolutely loved it. I've never used a hydration pack kayaking, but I use it every time I go mountain biking. So I don't know why I haven't before. I think it's in part because there hasn't been a good system that attaches really well with your life jacket. And this one does. This is the swig attaches to some of the newer models of NRS's life jackets. Not all of them. I'm sure very quickly it'll attach to all of NRS's life jackets, but has attachment point at the bottom and then two at the top. There's a 2-liter bladder inside here. And this is kind of cool too, is it has a magnetic little snap here so that while you're paddling, you don't have to fiddle. It snaps on so easy and snaps off. Simple to drink when you're paddling. It's funny, when you're paddling, you're surrounded by water, but I don't know how often I found myself forgetting to drink and ending up a little bit dehydrated. And that's because it's not often easily accessible. This changes that, makes it very accessible. And where I really noticed this is when I was doing a pretty beefy crossing in some rough conditions where letting go of my paddle and getting out a water bottle was too sketchy to do. This was a solution to keep drinking, keep hydrated during a long crossing. So anyway, very, very cool system, and definitely something to consider if you're doing anything beyond an hour, a really short paddling trip. All right, next up, we got this sucker right here. Yes, it's a headlamp. Doesn't sound too revolutionary, but this is truly a unique headlamp. This is the Coast RL35R or something like that. What makes this thing really unique is that, well, it truly is hands-free. I mean, that's why headlamps were invented, so that your hands didn't have to hold the light, they were free to do things. Well, this one is truly hands-free because Coast On. It's voice activated. And not only is it voice activated on and off, but it has a variety of controls. Coast minimum, coast maximum, coast flood, coast spot, coast arc, coast green, coast blue, coast red, coast turnoff. On the back, if you're using this for activities where you want to be noticed at night, it's got the flashing red light at the back to make sure that other people see you. It's rechargeable, which is nice, but not only is it rechargeable, the battery that comes in this thing, you can get a replacement battery for it. A second battery if you really need that. It's a cool tool. Now, something to note for paddlers is that it's not completely waterproof. It's got an IP54 rating, which means it's water resistant, splash proof. And so I would feel comfortable wearing this in the rain, but if you drop this in the water, if it goes for a swim, I wouldn't expect it to work again. Well, it may work again. I shouldn't say that. It may work if it's fresh water. If it's salt water, yeah, I mean, salt water just kills anything. So not completely waterproof, but a cool toy and a reasonable price at around $100 too. So the Coast voice activated headlamp. How come this is the first voice activated headlamp that I know about when the whole idea of a headlamp is to be hands-free? Next, we have this sucker right here, and you may have seen me talk about this in other videos because I'm a big fan of this. In fact, this is my old one. I just got a new one of these because this is my go-to for backcountry trips for water filters. This is the Platypus Gravity Works. This particular one is the 4-liter version. Now, what it's got is it's got a dirty bag and a clean bag. The way it works is you just scoop water with the dirty bag out of the river, or obviously not salt water. It's the only thing no water filter works with salt water, but scoop the dirty water up. You hang that up high, or not, up on a tree, and then you simply click the filter system, attach the clean water bag to the bottom, and now gravity is pushing the water through the filter. This is an add-on that you don't get with it. This is the carbon filter, and this takes out the smells and taste of water. So if you're dealing with, swampy-ish water, that's a nice little feature. I like having that on there. It really does make the water taste very, well, like water, not like swamp. It's fast. You get about the whole 4 liters done in about 2 to 3 minutes without any pumping. You don't do anything. You just hang the thing up and let it do its business. I love that. I really am not a big fan of hand pumps. I mean, I've never liked hand pumps, and so this has been a great solution for me. This is why it's been my go-to for 3-4 years, at least 3 or 4 years now, and why I just got another one, because once you find something you love, you stick with it. The other cool thing about it is it's simple to back flush and clean. If it gets if it gets clogged up, if you're filtering dirty water, eventually it's going to slow down the flow and it's going to get a bit clogged up. All you do is reverse the flow so that you basically put the clean water up high, you let the gravity push the water in the reverse direction, and it just flushes out all the gunk. And so simple to clean this thing in the field. Like any filter, the way to kill this thing is to let it freeze. So no filter is a good thing to use in this time of year when it's freezing cold. So very cool product. Now, last but definitely not least is this sucker right here. This is the Eno Lounger DL chair. Now, this is an interesting one. This is a great gift. This isn't a camp chair that's great for everything. This is a camp chair that's great for those trips where space isn't really an issue. I mean, this is a big package. I'm not going to take this on any of my kayak camping trips or trips where I'm doing a lot of portaging or things like that. It's limiting in that regard. But for the family trips that don't involve a lot of portaging, very mild portaging or none at all, raft trips where I have tons of space, car camping. Actually, this has pretty much a permanent home in our family vehicle when we're going to my daughter's games, whether it's soccer games that we're watching, what have you. It's super quick to put together. It's a camp chair. It takes about a minute to put together, but it's one of the most comfortable camp chairs that you'll find anywhere. It's got padded armrests. It's got a padded headrest, which is nice and high. The other thing I like about it is it's got feet that are wide. So if you're on sand or any kind of soft ground, it doesn't just sink deep in. It does a good job of floating and staying on the surface. A really awesome, comfortable camp chair. Again, definitely not for every type of backcountry trip, but more of a car camping or luxurious camping or just a day-to-day lounge camp chair. So there you have it. My picks for some great gifts for paddlers this holiday season. They're not all going to be for everyone, but they're all for me. I hope you guys have enjoyed this one, and I hope you guys have great holidays. I probably won't be doing another video until after the holidays, so we'll see you then. Give this video a thumbs up if you like it. Subscribe to Paddle TV if you haven't already. Of course, check out my other channel, Ken Whiting Adventures, which has all my paddling adventures, where you're going to see some of these products being put to use. And stay tuned for a whole lot more paddling tips, gear reviews, and paddling adventures.